Welcome to our Groundbreak session on how to unleash the power of analytics to drive performance. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that throughout Groundbreak, we'll be sharing some really cool new features not yet generally available. Please make sure you're making purchasing decisions based on what is available today. You can read the full text of this slide on our website. At Procore, we are dedicated to building software for the people who build the world. We help you focus on building more effectively, which means spending less time on paperwork and engaging in more projects with lower risk and higher profitability. Analytics is no different. Today, we're going to walk you through how technology has matured so that you can do more than ever before with your data on Procore's platform. You will see specific ways we deliver insights and hear from Procore Analytics users who are making great strides towards improving business operations and profitability. Builders like you are using analytics to drive better conversations with their teams about quality and safety, ensure standard operating procedures and best practices are being followed across multiple projects and regions, compare vendor performance to address recurring issues and select the best team members, track production rates over time, hone in on the root cause of cost and schedule overage, conduct advanced forecasting, and more. Getting to analytics and now advanced capabilities like artificial intelligence and machine learning has been a journey. Back in the day, builders were excited to digitize their information using mobile apps and the internet. This made it easier to sift through information versus using paper notebooks and spreadsheets. Procore's platform brought all of that information into one place as a single source of truth for tracking workflows and historic information. The result is that users can tap into that data across projects to find opportunities for greater efficiency and lower risk. That was the kind of revolutionary change Patrick Hennessy at Harkins Builders experienced when he spearheaded the organization's shift from Excel spreadsheets to analytics on Procore.
We really got started kind of just as a result of, after being a Procore customer for a couple of years, starting to understand the just amount of data that we had at our disposal. So, previously analytics for us looked like an Excel spreadsheet with a couple graphs on it, or maybe combining a couple different databases that different projects were tracking to try to find something. And then, we started to see, holy smokes, we have this cloud-based platform that is storing every single click across all of our projects on a day-by-day basis. And all of that data is going somewhere. So why don't we try to tap into that and see how that can benefit us from a business perspective and from an organizational perspective? And instead of having these kind of siloed project by project type analytics or what we maybe thought was analytics, let's take a look at this at the portfolio level and really unlock some of the power that being able to utilize our data across our entire organization can bring to the table. And that's really what got us started.
As Patrick and others have found, getting all of your data in one place is a critical foundation to lay for the kinds of reporting and analytics we are talking with you about today. Without Procore, analysts may spend weeks building a single report to make a business decision, if they're able to find the right data at all. Similarly, Procore user Maria Rousseau from BW shared at the Innovation Summit that having a single source of truth for project data is key to making it available for analysis.
Yeah, technology and access to live data, it's an integral part of BW. And we use different type of technology, Salesforce, Power BI. We have a subcontractor database that we built in-house. But throughout of all our projects, we have only one source of the truth, and it's Procore. So by using Procore and throughout all our live projects, we are able to collect all those trends, like Bob mentioned earlier on, information on technical submittals or drawings, and those trends help you understand where you might have to improve, or also things that you're doing very well and you should continue to do as good as you are doing because are working very well. But yes, technology is very important. And I think all the technology that every company uses needs to be connected to the overall strategy. Don't measure just something for the sake of measuring, because then it won't be beneficial.
On top of the platform foundation, Procore provides built-in reporting capabilities that don't require the use of any third-party analytics tools. These reports are designed to address the critical questions you are asking every day to reduce risk and be more profitable. Procore's standard and custom reports can be used for analysis at the company, team, office, and project level. Inactive projects are available so you can learn and build insights from all of your historical data and apply those learnings to your current projects. These reports can be used for insights on open and overdue items, third-party performance, financials, and for monitoring the use of Procore's tools to capture job information. We recently created a cross-tool reporting experience that couples connected data with a new front-end experience. This means reports and dashboards in Procore have a more robust and flexible data structure, which will allow you to build reports with data from across multiple tools within the platform. This capability is unique to Procore. With the ability to report across tools, you can look into change events, cash flow issues, cost exposure, progress on billings, and more. We know how important business metrics are to builders. For that reason, we made the process of building a report even more user-friendly, with improvements to grouping, filtering, formatting, and creating subtotals and totals. The first place we plan to roll out the beta for cross-tool reporting is in financials. So owners and GCs can look at contracts, invoices, and progress on billings to date. And SCs will soon be able to report out on time and materials tickets related to change events. The new cross-tool reporting capabilities will become even more useful when we consider other enhancements we are making, like custom and configurable tools, so you can capture and analyze the information that matches your business model. As we learned the kind of insights builders want from their data, we made pre-built analyses available in Power BI with Procore Analytics, which we released in early 2020. We have continued rolling out analyses, knowing that owners, GCs, and SCs all have different needs. For example, we released analyses geared toward owner needs in Q4 2020. Owners will especially benefit from reportability on custom fields being released later this year. We released analyses for specialty contractors in Q1 2021, which focus on reports such as portfolio status, field productivity, benchmarking, and time cards. In Q2, we released new safety metrics analytics capabilities that were initially driven by an acute need in Australia. There, regulators began requiring specific safety reports. Because Procore already has the capability to house this information on our platform, we were able to build the report and release it, not just for Australia, but for the rest of the world. The Procore team is making what's under the hood more powerful for analytics over the long haul. Your data will be even more available to you to generate the insights you need to reduce risk and increase profitability. What's more, we're deploying the infrastructure our developers need to enable AI initiatives, where we turn your business questions into built-in analytics capabilities. In Q3, we're releasing even more flexibility through enhanced work breakdown structures, starting with budgeting, to give you a more granular way to organize cost structures. Rather than being limited to standard cost codes, you'll be able to add letters and digits to represent locations and more. Analytics will be able to report on these new parameters. We use terms like artificial intelligence as a shorthand way to say that our teams have built algorithms that run analyses for you right out of the box. These analyses give you answers to the kinds of questions you ask as you choose partners, look for areas for improvement, and tune your processes. To make it even easier to use, part of our onboarding process includes tuning those analyses for your business so you're able to get value from the start. We recently released a pilot on the use of internal RFI, submittal, and financial benchmarks within Procore Analytics. This gives users the ability to measure an aspect of a project against the historical norm and see trends. We plan to follow the pilot with a beta program. As we build a critical mass of users, We see a day when we will be able to enable builders to opt in to benchmark key areas of their business performance against their peers. All of the work we've been doing together with you is preparing us for that next step in the journey. As you think about starting an analytics program, you may be wondering where to begin, just as Amanda Finnerty from Commodore Builders was.
Our teams, when we looked at it, where do you even get started if you purchase Tableau or Power BI? Because there's so much to building those reports to even know how to get started with them. And Procore did that for us. So I opened up, when I saw everything that they had provided, it was an easy sell with our, senior leadership team to say, hey, we need this. And after that, we got it and we were off and running, and we use it extensively. It's only been a year. It's amazing. It's only been a year, but we use it extensively.
As Amanda found, once organizations get started with analytics, the demand for even more insights begins to grow. While Procore provides out-of-box tools and coaching, businesses focus on improvements to get the most out of their data and scale the analytics program. The three key areas are people, who is entering the data, who the stakeholders are for reports, and who is doing the work. Processes, how to ensure the right data is captured and any gaps are addressed. Technology, what tools to use for capturing and analyzing data in the field and the office. Analytics makes it possible for the people already in your organization to do more. Our focus is helping to make your team more effective, not about software as an end in itself. At Commodore, they rallied their field teams around a safety initiative, which was an effective way to show the value of their data.
So what we did with our safety incentive program is our VP of safety and I went out on the road to all the project sites, and we showed them where their projects stood and for this potential program, because we wanted them to understand how we were going to measure, the teams for how they were complying with safety, because it's a high priority for our organization. And so we could show them where there were gaps in the data, where they needed to make improvements, why it was important. And so that was our first approach, going out with the teams. And it was really interesting meeting with them. We do this on a monthly basis. And so we're currently in our second round of meetings, because this was a fairly new program. And it's amazing to see in 1 month the improvement in the data and what they're doing on their projects, just in 1 month. When we're meeting with those teams, you'll see some people, they really get into analytics. They're like, wow, that's amazing what this can do. And then today, I pulled up a screen and said, well, let me show you what it does with RFIs and submittals. And they immediately say, can I have a license to this? How do I get into this? They got excited about it because they really appreciated the information that they were seeing.
Likewise, at Harkins, they found that communication was key.
The other biggest thing for me in terms of implementing analytics with people and with culture is communication. Because if you keep this in a technology department where you have a bunch of data nerds who are building the reports and trying to implement them, but you don't have top-down communication where we're really pushing this stuff, saying, look how valuable this can be, it's going to go nowhere. You need to find champions who are the end users, who are going to promote this kind of thing and really make it a valuable asset known to your entire organization.
Now let's see an example of how Procore Analytics built-in reports support builders' efforts to improve data quality. Let's say we want to improve the timeliness of our observation insights. Right now, we have a high number coming in unusually late. If we drill down, we can see that they are simply not being entered. We want to know who hasn't been entering them so we can follow up with them. We can also look at observations line by line to see more granular information and scan through it. Now, let's look into how many of our inspections are passing. Our average pass rate is good at 98%, but we see that most of our inspections are open. We can drill down by inspection type to see which ones are not categorized by type, and look for gaps where inspections are left blank. Then we can follow up with specific trade partners. If we drill down on these, we see that inspections that have been left blank have a pass rate of 90%, but we still want them to be properly filled in. We can set a target rate of compliance for the number of inspections per company. In this case, we've set it at 1. We see that our compliance rate is very low. All of this information helps us take actions to improve data quality that will help future analyses. As Procore user Maria Rousseau from BW found, the more data they gathered over time, the more insights they were able to generate. She told us, after 6 months of using Procore Analytics, we had a bank of data we could put to work on understanding our business cycles, improving insights, and delivering better business planning. When users begin an analytics program and start running reports, the first thing they usually find is that they need to make improvements in how their data is collected. These improvements may include filling out as many fields as possible within forms, standardizing how they complete process records, such as including photos with punch lists, standard operating procedures on how you fill in forms, etc. With each improvement to data collection and management, the insights get better and better. Each new business question creates a pull for better data, so the cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Soon, the business develops a significant competitive advantage and can pull ahead of the competition that hasn't gotten on the bus yet. Harkins Builders got the flywheel in motion by honing in on an area where they had high-quality data.
When we first turned on analytics, similar to Amanda, the first thing we noticed is where our data was poor. So there were two kind of initiatives we took from there. Number one, improving the data where we realized that it was poor. But number two, finding small wins where we did have accurate data. It's not like our entire database was poor. So we did have some nice little pockets. And for us, that was our safety data. And really, I think the reason for that is because our safety data was primarily being entered by one department, the safety department. It wasn't inter-project or inter-region groups that were trying to align. It was one group that was entering the data accurately. So we started with our safety analytics reports. And then just to kind of continue on the flywheel analogy, we had people that saw that, loved it, and hey, what about this? What can we do this? And sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no, depending on how that data is. But if the answer is yes, we just got another early adopter. If the answer is no, we just found an area where we need to improve our data. And that wheel just continues. And for me, it's about that iteration, right? So now our safety report looks 5 times different than it looked in that first iteration when we tackled that small win initially.
Focusing on just a few places can yield big dividends when standing up an analytics program. In fact, our team has identified just 4 critical areas in the data fields that hold the key to producing a high number of no-code analytics reports for financials. We have similar findings for other report areas. Builders are engaging folks in the field by making it a collaborative process and showing them how data collection helps them. As the folks at Ingerman found, when people in the field see the insights they can gain, their motivation to enter relevant data increases.
Which may at first seem like it's a little additional work than they historically had done, and using the technology is part of them being part of a collaborative process and showing them how it can help them. If we're collecting data on punch items or we're collecting data through inspections and able to show real reporting, it's one thing if we say, well, we think we have a problem with XYZ subcontractor, but we don't have anything to back it up with, versus saying, look at how many times these punch items have come up with this subcontractor, or on this framing inspection, we seem to have these difficulties that ultimately, if we can go talk to those subcontractors, show them where they need to improve to do good business with us, it benefits our superintendents. So them seeing that life cycle of the data and how it works its way back to them and benefits them, to me, has been one of our biggest selling points to how we get the field to take to the tools and teach them the bigger picture of the life cycle of data. We're also a big fan of business intelligence and how seeing the root cause of things can help you define your best practices. And that it really is a cycle of improvement that you can generate.
A lot of people think they need to have wide bandwidth and a large mature program to see benefits. But what we hear from users, even in the early stages, is that they benefit from quickly seeing actionable insights, even if that just means discovering there is a gap in the process of capturing the right information and establishing the right checkpoints in the field. Ultimately, this leads to better collaboration between the field and office and between owners, general contractors, and specialty contractors. Here's what Maria Rousseau from BW in the United Kingdom shared about building their processes at the Innovation Summit Roundtable.
We have collected the data, and then, for instance, we realized that we didn't have a specific process to deal with the punch items. Neither we did, nor our subcontractors. So we ran a workshop, and we ran a workshop with the entire operation at BW, but with each preferred subcontractors that work with us. So by collecting the data, we were able to improve our internal process, but also our subcontractors came on board to improve the things that they weren't doing so well when they worked with us towards the end of the project. So the data serves well not only to us, but also to our subcontractors.
Leveraging data isn't something that companies go from 0 to 100 on right away. They need to build up muscle and become a data-driven company over time. The intent of analytics dashboards is to help you save time on building these yourself and more time learning from the information it uncovers.
One of the things I loved about the out-of-the-box reports is that I was able to take the raw report and modify it for what worked for Harkins. And we were able to use that as a starting point to get an idea of maybe this visual works in this scenario or this visual works in this scenario to provide the insight, the metrics that we want to see. Agree completely that just starting from scratch is a lot tougher, but everyone uses Procore differently, right? The way we use it is, I'm sure, different than the way Amanda's organization uses it. And to be able to have the out-of-the-box reports to feed custom reports that then a business intelligence group within your organization can start to make, that for me was such a great aspect of having those out-of-the-box reports.
As you have heard, builders that get on the data journey discover cumulative benefits as they roll out and enhance their programs. This is what one of Procore's analytics users said at the Innovation Summit keynote about the decision to work with Procore as their data partner, rather than acquiring and modifying an alternative software in-house.
So we actually hired a consultant to compare Procore and buying Construction Project Manager and rebuilding it on a new database for our own purposes. After we looked at it, it would have been like an $800,000 investment to buy this company. And then we were in the construction software business, or a minor investment to invest in Procore on an annual basis to get so much more, almost checked every box that we needed. But having a customer success group that actually would listen to you and iterate with you on the things that needed to happen.
Each builder that gets on the data journey has the opportunity to experience iterative improvement in their business, make their people, processes, and technology more robust so they can expand their work into new areas of opportunity. The cumulative effect is to create a data-driven culture where you can have more objective conversations with your team members and get everyone working toward the same goal of continuous improvement.
There's been multiple different impacts. Number one, I think is a cultural change in general. Kind of the idea that we're moving from a gut feel kind of decision-making process where the highest paid person in the room is the one that's making a decision off of gut feel, to a data-driven approach, which has proven to be so valuable in so many industries. Think marketing, think sports. Data-driven decision-making has become the norm in almost all industries in the entire world. And it's amazing to see how construction is still relying on gut feel. So I think a cultural change has been a huge business change for us, to moving to more of that data-driven decision-making type approach. You know, other things that we're seeing are the ability to, in meetings, utilize some of the insights from this data to help prove points, and not in a negative way. And this is something that I always convey to my people, is that we're not using this to beat people over the head, but we do want to promote accountability. So how easy is it to sit in a meeting with an architect, just to go ahead and use your RFI example, Julie, and say, you guys don't respond to our RFIs timely enough. That's killing us, And then there's this, okay, yeah, sure. Well, you guys don't submit them fast enough. But how much different is it when you can actually take data behind that and prove it?
As you've heard today, builders like you are seeing positive changes in their organizations as a result of using Procore Analytics, such as driving better conversations between the field and office, helping team leaders prioritize their time, streamlining stakeholder reports, collaborative process improvements between team members. The depth of insights you are able to generate and the amount of time you save just may surprise you.
But I saw this amazing shift in our organization where they see the value of, getting the data in the right way, and so that they can pull it into analytics and really dig into what we're doing, how we're making improvements over time. And it really does inform great business decisions by looking at, how you're doing.
Regardless of where you are in starting the journey, we invite you to get on the bus with us and see for yourself how far Procore can take you to deliver greater and greater value to your stakeholders and pull ahead of the competition. Thank you.